How's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of Pokemon 2019. Today I'm going to be covering episode 14, which involves Ash and Go heading to the Unova region, in which they go to the desert resort and end up in a raid battle against the Golurk. And I thought this episode was decent. It's an alright episode. It's not as good as the last couple of episodes, but it's not a bad episode by any means. It's actually a pretty fun episode, in my opinion. And I think that this episode is better than episodes 8 and 9. There's a few things in the episode that they did better in this episode compared to those episodes. But overall, it's an alright episode. Nothing good, nothing too good or great, but nothing bad at the same time. So. Anywho, if you enjoy this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe as I cover the Pokemon 2019 series on a weekly basis or whenever the episodes come out. Anyways, onto the review. So I gotta say, I really like how this episode started off with Ash's goal, new goal at least, being highlighted, with him climbing the ranks in the Pokemon World Championships until he faces Leon in the end. And we have Go's goal of him catching every Pokemon until he catches Mew, or finds Mew. I actually thought that was a really nice touch in this episode. I also like the fact that Ash and Go are already in Unova, because in some of these episodes, Ash and Go start off at the Sakuragi lab, and they're sent off on their research mission. This time around, they're already in Unova right away. They're, cutting right to the chase and not wasting any time. I thought that was kind of nice, because I feel like too many episodes kind of rely on that, with Ash and Go starting off at the Sakuragi labs and then going to Unova. And I like the fact that that segment was saved for the end of this episode, as it kind of made sense considering what's going on towards the end of this episode. But I just want to say that that was a nice touch in my opinion as well. Now, one thing I thought was funny at the beginning of this episode is Ash and Go arrive in Unova, and they're in Castelia City, and there's a TV broadcast in one of the buildings in which the news reporter is talking about and reporting on the recently discovered ruins of the Titan, in which he mentions, oh yeah, try your hand at solving the riddles in this place, because it's really popular right now. Well, considering what happens to Ash and Go and some of the other characters in this episode as they go into the ruins, I think this news reporter should be fired, because he's putting a lot of people in danger. But yeah, I don't know, I thought that was a little funny little blurb at the beginning of the episode. I think this news reporter doesn't know what's going on. Now Ash and Go have to cross the desert in order to find the ruins, and the only problem is the desert sand is too hot for their feet, as Pikachu and even Scorbunny found the sand to be too hot. So they have to come up with another plan to get across the desert, in which they run across one of the characters of the day in this episode. Her name is Kira, in which she's using her Braviary to basically ski across the desert. And Ash and Go luckily have Pokemon that they can use to basically ski across the desert, in which Ash has his Dragonite with him, and Go brought Beedrill with him, in which they're able to actually make it across the desert. And there's some funny shenanigans on the way, but they eventually find the ruins, and Ash reluctantly brings his Dragonite back into its Pokeball, which Dragonite doesn't seem too happy about it. He was actually pretty happy meeting the character of the day and flying around in the desert. But as they're at the desert ruins, Scorbunny ends up running into a Darmanitan, and Go, without any hesitation, throws a Pokeball right at it and catches it on his first try, because Go. And that's how he gets his first Unova Pokemon. This kid just has a knack for catching Pokemon on his first try. Though he has had a few Pokemon he's had trouble with in the past, he manages to get this one on his first try. Ash and Go also run into a man and his group that are basically researching the ruins, but that guy won't become important for a little while. Anywho, Ash and Go head into the ruins. As Ash and Go walk into the ruins, they actually run into a Sandile, and this time around, Go actually battles it and captures it, and for some reason, Pikachu tries to electrocute it, and yeah, that doesn't work, Pikachu. Come on now. Anyways, I like the fact that Go actually battled this Sandile with a Scorbunny and captures it more legitimately than the previous capture. So I like this capture a little bit more, personally. Anywho, that's not the main thing that's going on here. As Ash and Go are walking through the ruins, they end up setting off a bunch of traps, and just like I mentioned at the beginning of the review, there was a news reporter talking about how people should go and try their luck at the ruins, and yeah, he should be fired, because Ash and Go, they get into a lot of trouble here. A boulder almost flattens them, a bunch of tiles pop out and almost crush them, and then Ash actually ends up in a pitfall and pretty much almost falls to his death. But it's thanks to one of the characters of the day, the girl that they met at the beginning of the episode. Her name is Kira, and she has a Medite along with her braviary, but her Medite actually ends up saving Ash's life. So yeah, it's a good thing that she was there, because Ash pretty much almost bit the bullet here. In the next area, Ash, Go, and Kira actually run into two Kofa Grigus, or however you pronounce this Pokemon's name. And Kira quickly realizes that somebody is in each of these Kofa Grigus. Yeah, I'm having a hard time pronouncing this Pokemon's name. Anywho, they manage to free a person, which I'm going to refer to as Bootleg Clement, and his shiny Psyduck. In which we find out that this character, he's an interesting one, as he pretty much just wants to fill his Pokedex with shiny Pokemon. Literally, that's what he wants to do, and it's taken him quite a while because he doesn't have a whole lot, but all his Pokemon so far are all shinies. So I do think that is kind of interesting, even though he pretty much is Bootleg Clement. Anywho, as they're in this room, they realize they're kind of at a dead end and they don't know where the Titan's at. They can't really figure out where this Titan supposedly is located at. And that's when I believe the shiny Psyduck ends up stepping on one of the symbols. Instead of a trap opening up, there's basically one of the circles in the symbol that's in the middle of the room moves around. And that's when Kira here theorizes that no, these are not traps, but it's basically a way to get to the Titan. So she instructs everyone to press these symbols. And sure enough, it opens up a not portal, but a gateway to the Titan, who is in a raid egg because Pokemon Go. It's another Pokemon Go reference. Anywho, it hatches and a giant Golurk appears, and that is the Titan of the Ruins that's protecting the supposed city that was here long ago. And that group leader from the people that were researching the ruins shows up, obviously, conveniently too. And that's when they all decide to have a raid battle. And needless to say, this Golurk is pretty powerful. It's already bigger than your normal Golurk, so it's already trouble for everybody that's battling it. And it pretty much washes almost everyone. Even Ash is struggling against it, and for some reason Ash has Pikachu use Thunderbolt, even though Golurk is a ground type. And earlier in the episode, Pikachu used that same attack on a Sandit, and Ash was like, hey Pikachu, that doesn't work on Sandit, it's a ground type. Ash, what happened? Is being back in Unova making you forget things again? All jokes aside, the one thing I really like here, or I guess the highlight moment, is when Ash brought out Dragonite and it battles for the first time. And it was awesome. And also Go uses Darmanitan that he just caught in this episode to battle against the Golurk. And as it prepares its final attack, the two basically battle it. And it begins to sink into the ground, and that's when Go basically takes the opportunity and catches the Golurk. Go, I think Ash deserved this Pokemon, as he pretty much did most of the work, but whatever. Go just has to catch every Pokemon, I guess. And that's when, as they were battling, they actually end up revealing that the city that the Golurk was protecting actually gets revealed. And they all end up at least the characters of the day end up going in there and exploring it. It's a city of gold, pretty much. And this episode comes to an end with Ash and Go returning to the Sakuragi labs, in which Go brings his Pokemon that he just caught in Unova back to the lab with him, in which his Pokemon end up interacting with his Pokemon that he caught in previous episodes, which was actually pretty neat to see. We also see the Gengar that was bothering Ash, Go, and Koharu in episode 11. And it looks like this Pokemon is going to be bothering Ash and Go in, I think, episode 16 in the future. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when this Gengar shows back up, and who potentially could catch this Pokemon. So there were two main things I really liked in this episode. One, I liked Dragonite and its utilization in this episode. Now I understand why Dragonite wasn't a main focus or wasn't featured in the last two episodes, as those episodes were focused on Leon, developing Ash's new goal, and Gigantamax Pikachu, among other things. So I'm not too upset that Dragonite didn't really appear in those episodes. But I like the fact that it was utilized pretty well here. It helped Ash get across the desert, and it helped battle the Golurk in the raid battle, and it was the MVP in that battle. It pretty much was one of the reasons why Golurk went down, and Go was able to catch the Golurk. So Dragonite, you were awesome in this episode. And I also really like Kira in this episode, who is probably my favorite character of the day in this series to date. She was awesome in this episode. She was utilized pretty well. She's the reason that Ash and Go were able to get across the desert in the first place, as she gave them the idea for the sand skiing. So it was thanks to her, Ash and Go found the ruins. She also saved Ash's life when he fell into that pitfall. He would have been toast if it wasn't for her. So she saved Ash's life. And then she was also responsible for figuring out the puzzle at the end, and was able to basically solve the puzzle and bring out Golurk. So it's all thanks to her that Go was able to catch the Golurk in the first place. So yeah, she is awesome. For the other characters of the day, I don't really care so much for them as for her. As we had the Clement ripoff dude, who is a shiny hunter, which is kind of neat, but he didn't really get too much of a focus in the episode. Kiara basically stole the spotlight here. And then for the other guy, I honestly don't care about him. To be completely honest, he didn't really do too much or contribute a whole lot. He just helped them a little bit in the raid battle, and that was about it. And now for my issues with this episode. And this is something that continues to be kind of an issue I have with this series, and it comes with Go and how he catches his Pokemon. On one hand, we had Sandit, which I think was handled pretty well. I actually really liked how Go caught that Pokemon. Darmanitan, on the other hand, I wasn't really too happy, as it just appeared, and before they could do anything, he throws a Pokeball and catches it. I'm not a big fan of when Go does that, as it doesn't feel impactful at all. Like when he caught Sandit, it felt more impactful as he battled it, and in my opinion, rightfully earned the right to catch the Pokemon, if that makes any sense. But for the Darmanitan, he just throws a Pokeball at it right away and catches it on the first try. I don't know. I didn't really care for that too much. Now, this is something that some of you might disagree with me on, but to be completely honest, I honestly didn't really like this raid battle very much. And now, before you roast me in the comment section down below, the Dragonite portion of this battle, when Dragonite appeared, it was awesome. I liked Dragonite in action, and it basically carried the battle. But besides that, everything else about the battle was just not very exciting. The other characters of the day pretty much got taken out very easily. They had basically multiple Pokemon get taken out, and it was basically Ash that was carrying the battle towards the end, with Go kind of helping out as well. And he was also struggling too. Scorbunny and Beedrill got taken out pretty easily. And it was Ash's Dragonite that was the MVP of the battle. And he was the one that honestly should have probably caught the Golurk. But nope, it has to go to Go, because he has to catch every Pokemon until he catches Mew. I get that. I get that it's, Go's the one that's catching the Pokemon and not Ash. But at the same time, it kind of rubs me the wrong way that Ash is the one that did most of the work, and he doesn't get to catch the Pokemon. I don't think that's really fair, personally. But yeah, I wasn't really too fond of this battle. I'm hoping in the future, with future raid battles, at least there will be, considering we already had 2, and with this series having a Pokemon Go influence, there will be more raid battles. So I'm hoping in the future, maybe they're a little bit more interesting, maybe more characters contribute to the raid battle. Like, imagine if it was not only Ash and Go with characters of the day, but we had previous companions and rivals of Ash show up and participate in these raid battles. I think that would be pretty awesome, and that would be actually a lot more interesting than this type of raid battle with Ash and Go and characters of the day. Just saying, though. Let me know if you agree in the comment section down below with that idea. But anyways, that's all I got for this episode review. Overall, this episode was alright. Not the best episode of the series, but not the worst. It's definitely better than episodes 8 and 9, a step up from those episodes. So, I'm going to give this episode... I've been debating whether I should give it a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. But you know what? As I've been doing this review, I've actually enjoyed the episode a little bit more, and I did rewatch a little bit of it, so I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 7 out of 10. Anywho, guys out there, what'd you think of the episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and be sure to like and subscribe. And I will talk to you all later.